about to tell you about my bedtime that I have when I was alone with my kids. Uh, I used to work a lot, and I have to leave my kids alone because I have no money to pay for a babysitter. So I used to worry about about them because I know that I left them alone. But before I go to work, I tell them not to go outside of the house, to stay inside of the house. If somebody came and knocked the door, not to open the door, and not to fight each other. I get, a lot of things that they're supposed to do and not supposed to not doing. So, but anyway, and in the afternoon, because I used to work at first I used to work in the fields, and then from there I used to work in the factory where they make, how they call them, bedspreads and ropes. I work at night. And then I change jobs. I work in the fields in the daytime, and I work in Orange in the factory where they make all kind of ropes. All kind of ropes. So as I see, I used to work 24 hours a day. I just sleep a few hours, And so, because I want to have my kids to have a lot of things to eat, and have, I like to have my house, with, I like good things. That's why I used to work a lot. And I never buy any clothes for my kids from secondhand. I always buy new clothes, new shoes. Because when I was young, we used to work, me and my sisters, my brothers, but my mom and my dad and my stepfather, he used to drink a lot. And he get all the money from us and go to, he get drunk and spend all the money. And so my mom, she always buy clothes from us from secondhand, from the Goodwill. See? So I said to my sisters, if one day I get married, I'm not going to buy no clothes for my kids from secondhand. I'm going to buy them new, everything new. See? So, and I did. It's hard to do that on my own. And at that time, they only pay you, at last, the more that I used to get is 35 cents an hour at that time. Everything was cheap too, But to take care of all the, all the kids I have, and pay rent and everything, it's hard for me. But I'll make it. And I never I never buy them, used clothes or whatever. When I used to live in San Bernardino, I used to buy, all my groceries in one store. And the owner of the store, they call it Chabelo and Pino, Princess. And he told me that one day one man said, how come you call those boys Princess every time they come to the store? And he said, you know why? Because those boys, they eat better than the prince, because their mother, she works in a restaurant, and she has so many kids, and but she gives her family the best, and she doesn't buy a pound of meat or whatever. No, she always used to buy 6 or 5 pounds of pork chops, or a lot. And I used to buy the whole box of peaches or pears or apricots, or 2 or 3 watermelons. Or I don't know how I do that, but I do it all by myself. And I used to make all them dresses, you know, for the girls so they could go to school. And Chabelo and Pita used to to make their shirts until they were 14 years old. And sometimes I stay sewing until 2 o'clock in the morning. And the other day I have to go to work. But I did all that. And well, but as soon as they grow up, you know, it's not very hard for me because Chabelo started to help me, as you know. She goes to my oldest brother. He used to take Chabelo and Piti to pick oranges, and they used to help me a little. It's so. And my hardest time that I have, it's when I start to get sick, you know. But when I start to get sick, they all Chabelo was getting a steady job and PT too, so it's not very hard for me to know. But as soon as I get well, I start to work again, and I start to get sick as after Richard was born. That's when I start to get sick. Off and on, out of the hospital, off and on, out of the hospital. And it was my hard time for me. But I'm here still living right now. And I'm here. So I think that was my hardest time. And well, when my first husband died, it was hard for me because I was very young, you know.
Se murió mi papa, you were 18.
Yeah, I was 18 years old when he died.
4 kids.
But when he died, as soon as he died, I started to work again. Working. Well, to tell you the truth, I think I've been working all most of my life. I started working. I stopped working when I was when I was helping those over here in the restaurant. I was 63 years old. That's when since then I haven't been working. And then, well, that's very hard for me. But the very thing that they get me, it's when Bino went to Vietnam, and then he was for 3 years over there. But in Vietnam, he only stayed 13 months. And it's real hard for me then. And then when my oldest son, he went to surgery. And that's another time. It's real hard for me. But thanks to God, everything came okay. See? And then when Dorothy lived to Tucson, Arizona, because she's the one that's, is real close to me. And I feel so bad when she left. And I remember, and I feel bad when I remember the time when she left. Because she was real close to me, and she's still real close to me. And later on, I've been sick. But I can manage myself to go around, doing whatever I want or whatever. And in Vietnam, he used to write me. I used to get 4 letters a month from Vietnam. And the last letter he wrote me, he told me, Mom, I don't know for sure that they're gonna send us to the States, back home. So I want you to have me all kind of Mexican food when I get home. I want menudo, I want enchiladas, I want tacos, and all kind of Mexican food. And I said to myself, okay, I'll do it. So when he got home, before he get home, but one day it was 1 in the morning when the phone ring in the morning, and then I get up and answer the phone, and it was another boy, and he called me from San Fernando, and he told me, "Can I speak to Richard?" And I said, "To Richard? Yeah. Doesn't Richard Medina live here?" Yeah, but he's not here. He's in Vietnam. And he told me, "No, he's not over there anymore. He's supposed to be home because I just get home. They were together over there, you know." And and I said, "Well, I listened." And I said, "Where are you?" Dijo, "I'm in San Fernando." Dijo, "We left yesterday from Vietnam." And I said, "Well, no, he's not home." I said, "Well, he's supposed to be home already." And so he told me, "Well, maybe he's going to be, later on he's going to be home." So and he told me, he gave me his phone number and everything. When he got home, tell Richard to call me. I said, "Okay." So from that day, I can't sleep, you know. So it came another day and another day. So 3 days later, Pete used to go every day in the morning. He used to go and drink coffee every morning, rain or shine or whatever. She used to go, and it was 3 days later that I told Pete, "You know what? A boy called me from San Fernando. He told me that Richard, he used to, he's supposed to be home already." And I was crying. And then Pete said, "Don't cry. I'm going to call over there to San Diego." So he got the phone and called over to San Diego. And he asked, about the boy that came from over there. And they told him that the boy, he came from San Fernando, they bring him in a jet, and Richard, they had him in a boat. So, but he was over there in San Diego already. But they're not going to let them go to home until they're going to give her some shots and everything, So they're going to stay 2 days more over there. So he spent 3, 4, 5 days over here in San Diego in the boat until they have physical examination and they give him some shots or whatever. So 2 days later, he called me in the night. I think it was 8 o'clock or 9. He called me from Santa Ana. And I got the phone and he said, "Mom, I'm over here in Santa Ana. I don't know what to do. So, can you come and pick me up?" And I said, "Okay." So Simon was there, and I think it was Namor. Simon, it's a cousin, right? Uh-huh. So they left to bring Pino over there to Santa Ana. And when they left over there to bring Pino from Santa Ana, I was crying, I was so happy. So Nancy was there, and Helen, and I think that Victoria and Luisa. And I tell them to get tamales from the freezer and cook some tamales. And I have everything frozen in the refrigerator. So we can have when Pino get home, we have everything ready. And there's and I don't know what to do when I see him. And I tell you, "Okay, there's your food." He only eat, a little bit of everything. And he bring me a lot of stuff from over there, from Vietnam and from Japan and from Okinawa. A lot of places where he go. He bring souvenirs, a lot of souvenirs for everybody, not just for me, not for his dad, no. Just for her sisters and her brothers-in-law and for me. To his daddy, he did not bring nothing. He got mad, but Pino said, "I don't care." So he didn't bring nothing for his daddy. I was young, because they don't send us to school. I don't have no education at all, nothing. But when I was young, I always think, and I want, if they let me go to school, the first thing I want to learn is to be a dress designer. That's the job that I want to do. A dress designer and a interior decoration. That's the things. So later on, when I get old, everybody get married, and so that's when I start to do things. But I don't went to school. I just, they come and I'm going to do this, and I do it. If they don't come right, I do it again and again until I do whatever I want. And right now it's still the same, And I like it. I like to do those things. And I still like it better. And I like doing those things better because my daughter sells them for me. Dorothy. She sells me a lot of things, So I make a lot of spending money with doing all that craft that I do. And I used to crochet a lot, but later on I don't crochet a lot because of my eyes. My eye doesn't help me. I can crochet for quite a while, then I might start to have a headache or whatever, because I'm not young anymore. No, I'm 76 years old right now. So, but I don't feel old. I don't. Really, I don't. I'm 76, but I don't feel I don't feel old. I'm sick or whatever, but I don't, I know a lot of people that say, oh gee, I'm so old, I'm so tired, I don't do this because I don't feel it. Not me. If I do nothing, it's when I get real sick. But if I'm sick and I can move around, I'll move around, no matter what. I don't give up, and I'm not going to give up. And if I can go, if on the years that I have right now, if they give me a job and pay me for it, I'll go. I'll go, yeah. Because I don't like just to sitting around or doing nothing or whatever, And I enjoy, doing all those things that I do. And a lot of people, give me a compliment because, oh, it's so pretty, and I sell a lot of things. So, well, okay. If they want to buy it, okay with me. Yeah. Uh-huh. And but I have my ups and downs on all the years that I have. Sometimes bad, sometimes good, but not so bad. Not so bad. Well, to me, it's I thank God that I know a lot of people, that is younger than me, and they give up so easy, They don't try to go ahead and do a lot of things because they give up. That's a bad thing that person could do, give up, You shouldn't do that. You have to do your best, try. And take out of your mind that you're not old. That's the best thing to do. I'm not old. I can do this and I can do that. And you do it. That's the way I am. Not unless I can move. Like that time that I was sick I have to stay 3 months in bed with I can sit with my leg. The doctor told me that I have to stay 3 months in bed. I didn't do it. I get up and go, walk around, and then I go to bed for a little while, but I didn't do it. And the doctor told me, did you stay in bed? Yeah, I did. But I didn't. No. Stand on that Pino, they sent Pino to Richard. They sent Richard over there to Los Fresnos, Texas, to Academy for the Border Patrol. So I was myself in the big house, all by myself. And then one time, Rosa went over to my house and she told me, I was, at that time, I was doing something. I used to do lamps out of resin and sell them. And I used to make a lot of things from, working with resin. Make those, how they call them, grapes, and playmats, lamps, and napkin holders out of resin, you know. I always do something. And one time, I used to go to the Goodwill over there in Santa Ana, and I buy a lot of old shoes. I only pay 5 cents for the shoes, high-heel shoes. So I take a lot of, I think about 20 or 30 shoes, the different kinds. They're not the pairs. So I pay 5 cents for each shoes. So I went home, and then I went to the hobby shop, and I buy cans of paint and glitter, different colors of glitter. So I went home and painted the shoes, blue and pink and yellow or whatever. And then I make a designs on the shoe with a pencil, and I put some glue, then I put some glitter on it, you know. And I used to put some flowers on it. I pay 5 cents for those shoes, and I sell those shoes. And that time, I sell them for $10. It's a long time ago, and I sell them like that. Remember, I think it was you that take them to Alex, because you're Dorothy and who else? Dorothy and Rosa. They used to work in Alice at the factory where they make tamales and all the stuff for the market, and they used to work over there. So they take all my stuff over there. They used to sell them everything. And I used to pay 5 cents for the shoes, and I would sell them for $10. And then one time I went to the store, to Lindbrooks, and there's a lot of big classes about this house, a little pretty. And I just looking at them and said, and they only cost, I think they cost 60 something. And that time Victoria take me, my daughter-in-law. And I said, I'm going to buy some of those, how do you call them, copas?
Cups. Champagne.
Huh? Champagne glasses, but they're big. And so I think I buy 20. And she told me, what are you going to do with all those champagne glasses? Oh, you just wait and see. So I went to the Pick and Save, and I buy a lot of ceramics, you know. I buy a lot of ceramics about this big. And then I put some styrofoam on the bottom, and I put some crest on it. I put the ceramics inside. I put some flowers and everything, and I cover it with the ceramic wrap. So that time, Luisa was working, and Alex too. So she take one, and then in the night he went to my house and said, Lala, you know what? Over there, the ladies where I work, they want some of those scissors. I sell the 20 at the one time. So I keep on going to the Lindbrooks and buy until they don't have any more. The last time that I went to buy some more, I said, well, I'm sorry, we don't have no more. We run out of them. So I didn't make it anymore. But I'm always doing some, I used to make some aprons, out of those, the flour, the one to make tortillas. They used to come in the sack with the material, very nice material. So I used to go and buy some towels, and they only cost me 15 cents a towel. The flour I have to buy it anyway. So I washed the sacks, and I used to make the aprons and put some those little towels to wipe your hands and everything. And I put some starch on it, and I used to sell it for $8. All the time I used to do something. And now I still do the same. If I go someplace and do something and see something, they get through my hand, and I come home and I do it right away, you know. One time, Tencha take me over there to I forgot that name. It's near Newport. It was a Newberry store, and there was a lady over there, and you know, she was checking already, and I was on back of her, and she has a little child, you know, real pretty. And I keep on looking and looking at you know, the child that the lady has. So when I got home, and then Tencha said, Mama, how come you looking at that lady so much? You know, she's going to get mad and she's going to say you something to do to you. I said, I don't care. She tell me, I don't know. I don't care. I'm not looking at her. I'm looking at her child. So when I get home, I get the needle and a jar, and I, you know, and make the sample right away. And that's the way I am right now. When I go, if I like something, if I don't like it, I forgot it. I didn't do it. But if I like something, I just, you know, keep on learning, and I come home and do it. I remember that one time when I used to make the dresses for my girls, I used to go to the fancy stores. When that time, you know, the dresses, they used to, a pretty dress, they're only $25, $30. It's very much for me. For the, to buy for 5 of them, it's a lot of money for me. So I used to go to the fancy stores, you know, and look for the dresses, real nice dresses. So from there, I go over there to JCPenney. That's where I used to buy all my material. On JCPenney, I buy the material and everything that I need, and go home and cut and make her dresses. And my mom, and a lot of ladies over there standing, they told me that I was crazy. How can I pay that much money for one dress? But I didn't pay it. I make it myself. And one time I tell Mom, let's go. It was going to be Easter, and I was going to make some dresses made out of organdy with a lot of ruffles and lace and whatever. So I went to that store and looked at the dresses, and then my mama said, "Are you crazy? Are you gonna get those?" My mom, she used to have a big mouth. My mom, she said, "Are you gonna take those? Are you gonna buy all those clothes? So you know, so expensive for those coaches, those pigs." You know, she was have a big mouth, my mom, and I said, "Yeah." So, "Oh, you're crazy," you know. So no, I just went to look. And I went to look at dress from on the back. You know, there in the front, you know how they put it in. And I went to look how it was in the back. But I don't know how I was thinking. So I turn around to look, and I get a big bump over here, right here, my forehead right here, you know. But I don't know how I was thinking. So anyway, I look at the dresses and go buy the material, make the dresses. And then later on, my mind told those, you know, the mujeres ahí from San, because some of them tell, how come Eulalia, where did she get all that money to buy those dresses, you know, for the girls? And then my mama tell, no, she made hers, you know. No, I don't believe you, no, so they don't believe that I make the dresses. And I said, yeah, she does, She always, you know, make the dresses in the church for Chabelo and Pete until I'm 14 years old. And then, you know, they don't want to, they don't let me to make their shirts, but I make it, you know, when they were small. And right now, too, I don't sew anymore because for my eyes doesn't help me, you know. I'll try. I start to sew straight, but then later I go like a zigzag. You know, I can, but I still like it. I still like to, you know, to sew and do all those things. But sometimes I have later on, I have been in a lot of trouble with my head. I have a lot of headaches, and I can't do nothing. I can stand everybody, anything on my body, any pain. I can. But as far as my hand, when I had a headaches, no, it's I can do nothing. Just all by myself at home. And Pino was over there in Los Fresnos, Texas. So that day, one day it was in the afternoon, and Rosa went to see me. He used to live across the street. And she told me, Mom, what are you doing? I said, nothing. And she was the one, she told me, Mom, why don't you make tamales to sell? And I said, well, who's going to buy it? And she said, well, everybody knows, everybody here in Stanton knows the kind of tamales you make. And I'm very sure if you make the tamales, they sell them, they buy it. Yes, and I said, well, yeah, well. And she told, you know what? I'm going to give you $35 to start. And I said, okay. So she take me to Santa Ana, so I buy everything to make the tamales. And so I make the tamales. It was on Thursday. And I put it in the freezer. And then at Friday at 1 o'clock, I think it was 20 dozens of tamales, the first time. And at Friday at 1 o'clock in the morning, I get up and put the tamales to cook. And then Rosa came, but Rosa, Thursday, she got the phone and tell everybody that she knows over there in Stanton. My mama going to make them tamales. She's going to have tamales for Saturday morning. At 6 o'clock, they're going to be ready. And I tell them, you're not going to come and cook it. I said, well, you get up real early. She told me, yeah, I cook it. So she called everybody over there in Stanton. And sure enough, Saturday night, I get up Friday at 1 o'clock in the morning, put the tamales to cook and everything. At 6 o'clock in the morning, it was 11 in the morning, and the tamales were all gone. So from then I buy more material for the tamales, more masa, more meat, So I keep on, getting more and more. And then I get, well, maybe if I think myself, if I make menudo, maybe I want to try it. So I tell Rosa, you know what? I'm going to make some menudo. Oh, yeah, Mama, okay. So I make menudo. And when they come in and pick the tamales, I said, I have some menudo. Oh, you have some menudo? Yeah, I have. So, okay, I'm going to go bring a pot so I can get some menudo. So when I stopped doing that, selling menudo and cabezas and all the stuff, I used to make 80 pounds of menudo every week. And I used to make 100 pounds of masa every week. And I used to buy two crates of cabezas, lamb cabezas, and put it on the oven. I used to make a chili sauce with spices and everything, and I used to wrap it in foil and put it in the oven. And Friday night, and I left it all night until the morning. And it was two crates about this big. I don't remember how much cabezas they come in a crate, but I used to buy two. But 11, 30, at least 12. My kitchen was already clean. Everything was sold. And when I stopped doing that, I was getting $600 of for myself, you know. That's what I was getting, $600 a week. Uh-huh.
On a weekend.
Uh-huh. And then Pino, she doesn't want me to do anything, Pino. She said, no, no, it's a lot of work for you. But sometimes Rosa go and help me, and Helen, she goes and help me too. Nate sometimes. Nate, she wants to go and help, but sell them. You know, when the people came, she goes. Oh, and then I buy some pan mexicano, Mexican bread, and some tortillas. And when they go and buy some menudo, I used to give them a dozen or 2 dozen of tortillas free. Yeah, because I get them cheap, the tortillas. So, yeah, so I have and I was making a good business. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but you know, if you like it, you enjoy it, whatever you do. It doesn't hard for you to do. And then if you're like me, sometimes I think that I've been working a lot and everything, but sometimes I said, well, it's I enjoy, you know, what I did and what I'm doing right now, and I hope to, and I pray to God to let me live a little longer, you know. Not even if I'm crawling, you know, not even if I'm crawling. Not that I'm afraid to die, no, I'm not afraid to die, but to me, the way I think things, it's sometimes you get bad things and good things, good times and bad times, but you get along with it. You'll make it if you try. You make it, no matter what. Nobody, you know, you don't let nobody get on your way. You do whatever you want to do, and that's the best thing to do. Not to give up. Well, if I don't get a job, well, I'm not going to job. But it's a lot of ways to you know to do whatever you want to do. If you can do it one way, you do it another way and another way until you do whatever you want to. Not to cross your arms and because if you do, nobody's going to help you. I know that for experience, because all the years that I was with my kids, they were small, nobody helped me. Nobody. I can tell in front of my mother, she lived, if she used to, I tell, yeah. Nobody, not even my sisters or my brothers or my mother, I don't have, until right now, I haven't received not a penny from all of them. I make it all by myself.